Hey everybody, how are you? It's Miss McCormick. I'm here in my house, so you can see behind me, this is my living room of my house. Over here we have the dining room area. You can see a lot of note cards hung on the wall. I'm teaching my girls Spanish while we're on break, so they're really excited about that. And I'm here in my house because we're going to do something really fun together today. So let me show you the best part. It's a surprise guest that I have for you. Hold on just a second.
Hey, it's Cameron. I'm Miss McCormick's daughter. I'm gonna be pretty much baking, and I'm gonna help go through the recipe. So
that's right. So Cameron is here with me, and we are going to show you how to make a recipe. So if you look right down here, I have printed out a recipe. So remember, if you watched my other video already this week, you know that there are 4 parts to a recipe. So if you look up here, this recipe that we're going to be making, first, notice it's by Miss Perkins. She had us make this recipe a couple weeks ago with all of the teachers and their kids, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah. Cameron had a really good time.
It was really fun. And
we got to decorate them. So Miss Perkins is the one that gave us this video, so thank you for that. And then here's the title of our recipe. It is called Salt Dough Eggs. And this is a picture kind of what they're gonna look like. I'll show you another picture of what ours looked like in a little bit. But right now, we're gonna go through the parts of the recipe and show you what it would look like if you were doing it in your kitchen. So something that I want to say is, this is really fun. We had a really good time doing it, and it's really easy. So this recipe only takes 3 ingredients. It takes flour, it takes salt, and it takes water. So probably all of you have those in your house. So I just thought that this might be a fun one for us to do together. If you want to do it with us, you can watch the video as many times as you need to follow the steps. And it'll be like we're baking together and getting to do something together since we don't get to see each other. So I just thought it'd be really fun to take a little bit of time and do that. If you do it and you make yours and you save them, when we get back to school, we'll all decorate them together, and it'll be a lot of fun. I think you'll really, really like it. Yeah. So I just wanted to say that. And now Cameron's gonna read what the equipment is that we need, and I'm gonna show it to you.
all right, our equipment. We have a rolling pin.
So over here's our rolling pin.
It is this. Next, we have a spatula.
And you'll see both spatulas here. We'll use the big one to scoop things, and this might just be to clean off our bowl.
Next, we have our bowl. Our bowl is what we're gonna put our ingredients in. Next, we have a wooden spoon.
Our wooden spoon's over here. And we are using a wooden spoon because we have it, but you can use a regular spoon, or you'll find out in a little bit that you can just use your hands.
Next, we're gonna need measuring cups. As you can see, there's 2 kinds of measuring cups. This measuring cup, the bigger one, is for water, and these 2 are our dry ingredients.
Okay.
Next, we have a cookie tray. Our cookie tray is where we're gonna put our salt dough on later, but it's all ready. Straws for making holes.
Okay, so this is the straw that we have just because we have them at our house. You can use a plastic straw. You can use the back of a fork. You can use your finger. We're just going to use it to poke holes in our dough. And then the last thing we need to talk about, I think, is the parchment paper. It looks like this. If you do not have this at home, you can just put some oil down on your tray or some like cooking spray, and it would work too. This just helps it to not stick to the cooking tray. And then on the recipe, there are also paint pens and yarn, but you will do that with us if you make them when we get to school. Okay? So now when we've looked at our recipe, we have looked at the title and the equipment. So we're on part 3, which is the ingredients. And I told you, ingredients for this are really easy. You can see them right there. So the first thing you need is flour. I keep mine in a bag because I don't like the bag that it comes in. And then salt. And then our last ingredient is water. So we will put all those together here in a minute. So now, We're to the very important part of following the instructions.
This is the most important part of the whole recipe.
Yep, it tells you exactly what to do. So I am going to move the camera over here, and Cameron is now going to become the star of the video. She's so excited about it. And I'm gonna read the recipe, and Cameron is going to make it. So you know that it's gonna be a good, easy recipe for you to be able to follow too, because Cami can do it. Although I will say Cameron is a really good baker, you guys. I think one day when she grows up, she's gonna be a baker and own her own bakery. So she has lots of practice. All right, Cami, are you ready?
Yep.
All right, so the first thing it says to do on our recipe is to cover our cookie tray with the parchment paper.
So first you're gonna take our cookie tray that we showed you before and our parchment paper. So here's a tip. You want to make it a little bit bigger, so just because I like to do that. Hold on.
Sometimes it's hard to rip and mommies have to help, and that's
Yep.
okay. So I'm gonna come over here and help her rip it off. Sometimes it's even hard for mommies. All right, there we go. And we're gonna cover the tray, and then we're just gonna move it back here for later.
We don't need that right now, guys.
Okay, so Cameron, your second step is to set your oven to 200 degrees.
So let's set it to 200. Let's see. 200, you said, right?
Yep, 200 degrees. This is called preheating the oven, and that just means you're warming the oven up before you put the stuff in so that it's the right temperature when you start baking. All right, now I think you need to grab your bowl.
This is where it starts to get fun.
So we are gonna pour in the flour and the salt into the bowl. Now remember, you don't just pour any amount of flour or salt in the bowl. You have to look at how much it says. So it says we need 1 cup of flour.
Okay, so for the flour, I'm just gonna...
She picked up the measuring cup that says 1 cup.
So guys, sometimes when it's low, I always like to brush it against the sides. That's just me, but you can do whatever.
All right, perfect. And then we need 1/2 cup of salt.
So what I like to do is, since salt comes out really fast, I like to pour it against my bowl. So if it drops, it will go into our bowl.
Like it is now. All right, so we pour in those dry ingredients. Then next we need to put in 1/2 cup of water.
Okay, let's see, our 1/2 cup right here.
So she's filling it up right to that line. I think she filled it up way too high. So I'm gonna help her real quick. So that is 1.5 cups. So if we would have done this, it would have turned into like muddy water. So it's really important when we're doing it that we find the right measurement.
And if we don't find the right measurements, it could go bad.
So when you do it, you can see we got it right there to the 1/2 cup line. She's gonna pour that in. And you need your spoon and maybe your spatula. So she's going to start, it says on here to stir it all together. First with the wooden spoon. So mix it together with the wooden spoon. And once it starts getting kind of mixed, it gets a little hard to mix with a spoon. So she's going to use her hands to make a dough. So it's gonna look kind of like pizza dough or pie dough when it's all done. You can like put it in a ball and clump it up.
Now it's starting to get really hard. So I'm going to, let's get to the fun part. And if needed, you can add a little bit extra flour. if it doesn't come out right.
So because it's kind of taking us a long time and I know you have lots of things to do, I'm going to do the next step for Cameron to get her ready. So while she finishes mixing the dough, I'm just going to take some of this flour and I'm spreading it on my counter. Now, I don't love to have a messy kitchen, but this flour on the counter is going to help the dough not to stick. We learned this the hard way, didn't we, Cameron?
Yeah, we tried it without.
We did it the first time and it stuck to the counter and it made a mess and it was awful and we got mad. And so we're going to do it differently this time and we're gonna put this flour down on the counter first to help it not stick and help us be able to move it over to our cookie sheet.
Your hands might get a little messy while doing this, but who cares? I like messy hands.
Okay, so let's see, how's it going? All right, it looks pretty good. So this is what your dough will look like when it's ready.
Kind of pizza.
Yeah, so it looks just like that. You don't want to mix it together and mush it together with your hands too much because then it comes very sticky and it's hard to do anything with it. So you can see I just put it down on that flour and I'm putting it down on the flour on both sides to help it not stick. And then Cami, do you want to grab the rolling pin?
Yeah.
Because our next step in our directions says to roll the dough out really thin with the rolling pin.
And it also says a tip in my thing. I'll tell you it in a second. You want to make sure it's even or it'll turn out really bad. So, like, I always like to check mine. Like, every once in a while, I like to stop and then, like, check it.
So you want to roll it out to about 1/4 of an inch thick. The thinner they are, the more you get out of them. It's okay if you keep them thick. You won't have as much dough to make as many of the ornaments that you could. Okay? So we have it all rolled out. So Cameron, it says to form it into whatever shape you want. So before we made eggs and we made bunnies out of cookie cutters, but today we're going to show you what to do in case you don't have cookie cutters at your house. You can find items around your house and use those. So Cameron, can you show them how to do that?
Yeah, so I just found this laying around and I am gonna press really hard. You want to kind of jiggle it so it's separated and take it out.
And we'll use our spatula in a minute. So why don't you cut out a couple of those? So yours might not be shaped as eggs, but that's okay because whatever shape you make, whatever you find to cut them out with, we will use that and we can decorate those, okay? So let's get those and then I'll help Cami get them cut out of the dough. Okay. So once you get them like this, and Cameron gave you a really good tip of jiggling it to try to separate it from the other dough, that makes it way easier. These are so hard to pick up. They still stick a little bit no matter what. So you can use the little spatula or the big spatula. Now we did a circle. If we want to make eggs like we did before, we can pull them a little bit and make them into egg shapes. And let me just put them over here on our cookie sheet. Good job, Cam. So see, I can keep them circle shaped. It's totally fine. We're gonna use paint pens to decorate them. They'd be fun to put on our Christmas tree in our classroom.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, so if you make some and bring them in, we'll hang them on our Christmas tree. Perfect. And if you can just pull them up with your hand, that's totally fine. You don't have to use the spatula.
And like we did before, we're not doing a lot, but like we did before, you can roll it out again.
Yeah, so you have all this leftover dough. You can roll it all out again and make it make more. We're not gonna do that right now, but you can, okay? So now it looks like this on our sheet. Okay, here they are. They're plain right now. That's what they're supposed to look like. So what we'll do is we'll put them in our oven.
Because it's preheated.
And we'll bake them for 2 hours. Now, when they're done and decorated, they'll look like this. Well, not just like this, they'll look way better than this. We put these on our tree, and then we had that bad storm the other night, and the water kind of puffed them up and made them look silly, but they were really fun to do. we hope you like our recipe. I hope you enjoyed my little assistant Cameron and what a good baker she is. And I hope you try this at home too.
Yeah, it would be super fun if you guys went to Miss McCormick's room and brought them in, and you guys could decorate them too. That would be so fun. And I can't wait to hear from you guys to see what they look like. Thanks for watching.